the AI startup I backed after just seeing 10 slides. I received the cold debt through another VC fund. They invest at a later stage, but they really rated the founder. They'd known him for years and they wanted to help share the deck on. And so I was one of those lucky investors that received this deck. And I was really, really excited when I went through it. And I'm going to run you through the deck and what were the 10 slides that essentially got me really, really excited ahead of meeting the team. Hi. I'm Rupa Popat, the founder and managing partner of Araya Ventures and the House of Araya. My first reaction when I saw this deck was, is this another sales productivity tool? Is this another CRM replacement tool? What I understood straight away from the first 2 slides was the problem that they were solving really, really clearly. They were talking about the fact that CRMs, sales tool, outreach is all broken. And what they were very clear from day one, and if you can see on the second slide of the problem statement, the visual just answered everything for me in one go. It was so clear because I am personally one of the people, as I'm sure are many of you who experience this in your day-to-day working experience, with all of these tabs open, with all of these different workflows running simultaneously and nothing sitting above it to connect it together. Now going to the next slide, I understood the solution very quickly. And it was very, very clear that this platform wasn't trying to replace Salesforce as a CRM. It wasn't trying to replace Zoom, Gmail, LinkedIn, any of the platforms that you currently have in your work stack. It was just there to increase your productivity and overlay across all of them. And one of the most important things in AI startups is how the startup integrates into the workflow. And this already from this slide felt very seamless. The visual again on this slide alongside the text made it really clear what this product does and what this product is asking the customer, i.e. myself or yourself, to sign up to. It's a lot harder to ask customers, for example, to switch CRMs or to switch tools that they already use. But what was great about this was it was very clear that it was about the workflow productivity over and above the stack that you already use in your day-to-day work style. The next slide showed the go-to-market. For a really early business that's pre-revenue and pre-product, having such a considered approach to go to market was something I really liked about this business. First of all, a lot of early stage startups have their kind of ideal customer profile, what we call the ICP, as very large enterprises. The challenge is if you're an early stage startup, it takes quite a long sales cycle to bring those large enterprises on board. There's also an onboarding procurement process, and often the early stage startup can even slow down and fall down under some of those procurement requirements. What I really liked about this was there was a really, really considered approach by the founders of who was going to be their first customers, who was then going to come to follow that, and the route that they would go to market to approach these different customer profiles. And so the phase 1, phase 2, and phase 3 approach felt very, very much aligned with how you'd want to see an early stage AI startup approaching this. The next slide really showed confirmation to me of exactly what this does and the fact that it sits above all of the existing work stack that you have. And as you can see again from the visual, you know that we're working with a lot of different platforms, a lot of different tools. And I felt quite excited that something could sit above all of it, even from a personal perspective as well. The next slide really brought everything to life for me. I sit on Zoom calls a lot, as I'm sure many of you do. And I think this use case example really showed what the potential outcome could be after the Zoom call. So, traditionally you do a Zoom call, you then might put an email together, you then have to write the email, you then have to find the attachment that goes with that. You might need some customer context or human context that goes into that particular email, and then you're ready to send it off. Now, if you're anything like me, you will have moved to your next Zoom call by then, and your next one, and your next one, and you don't actually have maybe the time or the ability to actually get all of that together in a seamless way. And so this use case really showed me how it works for a customer, how this product will work for them. So I thought it was a really great example. The other thing this slide showed me, which is really, really important, and is a question we all will be asking when we meet AI startups, is this a feature that potentially ChatGPT or Claude could be doing, or is this something that truly cannot be done by them? And I think this slide also clearly shows which parts of this use case example where the Claude or the ChatGPT may be used and the element of it, but also what the product actually does over and above it. And I think this is actually one of the most important slides in the deck because it really shows the value of having this product in your workflow, essentially, as a customer. And I think this one is very clear as well, shows that this isn't a feature or something that's going to become a feature in the future. This is a product in its own right and will stand the test of that. The next slide really showed how the business and the product integrates with your CRM. So again, just further enforcing that this is a product that integrates within your workflow as opposed to being a standalone itself. And the next slide on the moat was perhaps probably the second most important slide in the deck. So this particular slide is about moats, and anyone who's watched any of my YouTube videos will know we talk about, very specific moats. Now that technology has become commoditized, everyone has access to the same underlying models. There are very specific moats and defensibility that we look for within AI startups. And this one was really clear: data network effects. What we're looking for is how this product becomes more and more valuable the more usage it has. And that was really clear from this particular slide, that the moat itself could be the collaboration and the network effects within the way that the product is used within the workflow of the customer. And so this was very clear, the ambition that there is for the defensibility and the data moat and how the founders were thinking about building that. And this slide was super clear and gave clarity on the ambition of the founders. It was so clear that they are ready to own a category. And if you think about venture returns, what we're really looking for is those exceptional outlier outcomes that create a new category or change the behavior of something in such a significant way that has such a big outcome. And from this slide deck, it was the ambition of the founders was really, really clear. And now we come to perhaps the single most important thing in any pre-seed companies. It's the founders and the team. And again, you could see that a couple of the team had worked together before, especially between product and engineering, which was great. You could see that the founders, Charlie and Dara, had phenomenal experience, had exits already, had scaled companies. You could see that there was, extensive experience in both product and enterprise sales. And for anyone that watches my other AI investing startup YouTube videos, the learning loop is so important, and the speed of execution between enterprise sales and customer feedback all the way into the product. And here you could see that you had two very strong founders who came from very strong backgrounds who would be able to take signals from customers, build it into product, and continue to iterate until the product had got to the stage that it needed to be. And the next slide again showed brilliant advisors, and it really showed, and many of these advisors have gone on to become angel investors in the early round as well. So there was a real link between the investors coming in and their expertise and support they could have in shaping this product and this business and this platform. I've put together a pitch scorecard. The exact criteria I use to evaluate any deck I receive, including this one: 25 criteria across team, market, product, traction, and terms. Score each one, total it up, and you'll know immediately where a deal is strong and where it has gaps. It's called the Startup Pitch Scorecard. The link is in the description.